Good day and welcome to Mayor King's TV News. I am Matsu Okwemitorishe and here are the headlines. Oborevwori pledges support for Depowa'S empowerment programs for widows and orphans. Delta NLC rejects dress code warns of shutdown over harassment of workers and motorcycle union. Federal government unveils pension-backed loans to empower retirees. Super Eagles drop out of Africa's top 5 teams. Now the news in detail. Governor Sheriff Oborevwori of Delta State have commended the Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association, DEPOWA, for its humanitarian initiatives and support of widows and children of Nigeria fallen heroes, pledging his administration's partnership in sustaining their programs. The governor gave the assurance on Wednesday while receiving the President of DEPOWA, Mrs. Oghogho Musa, wife of Chief of Defense Staff, and a delegation at the Government House, Asaba. Welcoming the team, Oborevwori described Mrs. Musa as a proud daughter of Delta and lauded her decision to host the DEPOWA'S Empowerment Seminar for widows in Asaba, drawing participants from Delta, Edo, Anambra, and Enugu States. He recalled that only last month, his administration empowered 10,000 widows across Delta through skills training, financial grants, to establish small businesses and free access to medical care. Oborevwori added that the sacrifices of fallen heroes must never be forgotten, assuring that his government will continue to champion causes that secure a brighter future for their families. Chairman Delta State House of Assembly Committee on Peace and Security, Honorable Dr. Isaac Onwuzia, has called for continued support for security agencies to promote their operations in the state. However, Onwuzia made the call when he led members of the Committee on Oversight to visit headquarters of the Delta State Police Command and the 63 Brigade Nigerian Army, both in Asaba, the state capital, and fight against crime is a collective responsibility. Addressing heads of two agencies during the separate visits, Onwuzia commended the relentless efforts of the police and army in maintaining peace and orderliness in the state. Flanked by some members of the committee, including Honorable Charles Emutelu, Emmanuel Sinebe, Frank Esenwa, and Festus Utwama, the lawmaker who represents Anyocha South in the House, explained that the oversight visits will enable the committee review security situations in the state. Stressing that both agencies have done so well in protecting lives and properties across Delta State, Honorable Onwuzia expressed appreciation for their sacrifices and achievements in tackling criminality, especially kidnapping, communal clashes, and armed robbery. It disclosed that as part of the new framework to enhance security, vigilante groups across the state will henceforth be trained by the police and supervised by divisional police officers in their respective local government areas. Tension is brewing between the Delta State government and the organized labor as the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) Delta State Council has rejected a controversial dress code recently introduced for public servants and warned of a possible shutdown if harassment of workers and union members persists. In a communique issued after its Emergency State Executive Council (SES) meeting in Asaba on September 17, 2025 and signed by the NLC Secretary, Comrade Enakwawe Acrobat, the body described the circular from the Office of the Head of Service as unnecessary, unfair, and inconsistent with existing public service rules. The Labour body maintained that workers already operate under clear guidelines on decent dressing, adding that imposing arbitrary standards without dialogue was provocative. Beyond the dress code, the NLC also raised alarm over what is called systematic harassment and intimidation of members of the Motorcycle Operators Union of Nigeria. It accused the Secretary of the State Government (SSG) of instigating the clampdown by allegedly directing the police and army not to recognize the union. While commending Governor Sheriff Oborevwori for releasing 10 billion naira to offset pension arrears, the NLC insisted that the gesture fell short of fully addressing pension backlogs. Thousands of supporters who have thronged Government House, Port Harcourt on Thursday to welcome the reinstated Rivers State Governor, Simifaye Fubara, went home disappointed after he failed to appear. Fubara was scheduled to resume duties as Governor of Rivers State on Thursday, following the end of the 6 month emergency rule imposed on the state by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on March 18th. This comes after the president on Wednesday announced an end to the emergency rule, which ended the 6 month tenure of ex-Naval Chief Vice Admiral Ibok Etes as Rivers' sole administrator. Rivers State has faced one of Nigeria's fiercest political crises, pitting Fubara against his predecessor and FCT Minister Wilson Wike. Once allies, their fallout over control of state structures and resources split the House of Assembly, sparkling impeachment moves, protests and violence, including the burning of the Assembly complex. Meanwhile, in compliance with the order ending the emergency rule, Ibas, in a statewide broadcast in Port Harcourt on Thursday, expressed gratitude to the Rivers State people and Tinubu for entrusting him with responsibility to serve. The former administrator said the law and order have been restored, local government council elections conducted, and statutory boards and commissions reconstituted. He also noted that the state budget had been passed by the National Assembly, providing a legitimate fiscal framework for governance and development. Now on the entertainment news. Award-winning rapper Cardi B has finally released the highly anticipated Sofremi album, Am I the Drama, after a 7 year wait since a Grammy-winning debut, Invasion of Privacy. The 23-track album, featuring guest appearances from notable artists like Kehlani, Megan Thee Stallion, Selena Gomez and Janet Jackson, debuted at #1 at the US iTunes album chart. The album has received positive reviews, with Rolling Stone rating it 4.5 stars and praising its raw energy and fearless storytelling. To promote the album, Cardi B premiered a music video for the single, Safe, and made an appearance at the Apple Music event in New York City and a world tour planned for 2026. However, Cardi B recently confirmed she's expecting a child with the New England Patriots wide receiver Stephen Diggs, expressing her excitement and happiness in an interview with CBS. Now on the business news. In a bold move to strengthen Nigeria's consumer credit system and extend financial inclusion to senior citizens, the federal government on Thursday launched a pension-backed loan scheme for retirees. The initiative, introduced through the Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation in partnership with Leadway Trustees and Optimus Bank, is designed to empower pensioners by giving them access to affordable and secure loans. Retirees can borrow from 50,000 upwards, with maximum amount tied to the size of their pension income. Speaking at the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding in Abuja, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Credit Corp, Uzoma Wangba, said the scheme will provide retirees with a new lease of life. Launched under the theme Empowering Retirees with Consumer Credit, the program covers both federal and state pensioners. According to Wangba, it is built on the principles of affordability, security, and dignity for senior citizens. Wangba commended President Bola Tinubu for his inclusive governance model, as enshrined in renewed hope agenda, which prioritizes opportunities for all Nigerians. He emphasized that pensioners who for decades have been excluded from the credit ecosystem now have a pathway to affordable finance. Now on the foreign news. The US, for the sixth time, vetoed a draft resolution at the United Nations Security Council that would have demanded an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza and the release of hostages. US Deputy Middle East Envoy Morgan Oghogho said the text did not go far enough in condemning Hamas or recognize Israel's right to defend itself. All 14 members of the Security Council voted in favor of the draft resolution, which described the humanitarian situation in Gaza as catastrophic and which called on Israel to lift up aid restrictions. It comes as the United Nations Humanitarian Office warns that the last lifelines for civilians are collapsing in Gaza City as Israel expands its military offensive. On the global stage, Israel, as closely ally, looked interestingly isolated. Speaking prior to the vote, Oghogho said Washington's opposition to the resolution should come as no surprise. After the vote, United Nations members reacted swiftly to express their disappointment. Palestinian ambassador to United Nations, Riyad Mansour, called on the US decision deeply regrettable and painful, saying it had prevented the Security Council from playing its rightful role in the face of these atrocities. Pakistan Ambassador Asim Asmad described the veto as a dark moment in this chamber. Now on the sports news. Nigerian Super Eagles have fallen to the 45th position in the latest FIFA World Rankings, released yesterday as the coach Eric Sekou Chile's side slipped out of the top 5 teams in Africa. The three-time African champions have struggled to find consistency in recent outings after edging Rwanda 1-0 in New York. The team was held to a 1-1 draw by South Africa in Bloemfontein. The result offered little despite doing nothing to improve their global standing or their precarious position in the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying race. Nigeria now sit third in their qualifying group, 6 points behind leaders South Africa and 3 drifts of second place Benin, leaving their World Cup hopes hanging in the balance. On the continental front, the Super Eagles have dropped to 6th place in Africa. Morocco remained the continent's top-ranked side of the 11 globally, followed by Senegal 18th, Egypt 35th, Algeria 38th, and Cote d'Ivoire 44th, all ahead of Nigeria. However, FIFA confirmed that the next rankings will be published on October 23rd after Nigeria's crunch qualifiers against Lesotho and Benin. Now a recap on our headlines. Oborevwori pledges support for Depowa'S empowerment programs for widows and orphans. Delta NLC rejects dress code warns of shutdown over harassment of workers and motorcycle union. Federal government unveils pension-backed loans to empower retirees. Super Eagles drop out of Africa's top 5 teams. That's the news as detailed by Timiola Emanuela. I am Matsu Akwemitorishe. Thanks for watching.